And photography today evolved so much because it's everywhere that we actually do different things. We try to have photography not to be just a documentation art, but an interpretation one. And to show this, I have to show you a project that I finished 2 months ago. When you look at this image, what do you see? It's called Thayam. Thayam dancers, or artists as they're often called, are performers. Similar to shamanism, they embody a spirit of a god inside of them, and they can use it for special different rituals. Rituals can go from a day to 3 days, where they relive the life of a human who became a god until they reach to his present. And it's amazing to see the different tone in which they move. In one moment, he's crazy. He's jumping around, he's throwing fire everywhere, he's cursing, he's kicking people. A minute later, he will come down and listen to some music and start walking around and hugging people. This is not a ceremony of healing or removing curses. This is a feel-good ceremony. He just comes to people around him and says, "Don't worry, everything will be okay." And I learned that because those ceremonies can take a very long time and they spend throughout the night, only the kids who are very excited, who wants to see all of the ceremony and don't sleep all night and fight for it, can become Thayam dancers. Once they do that, they find a master, and he basically teaches them how to become Thayam dancers. They say that the reason they are so thrilled with this art and they want to do it is because there is a god who's pushing them into becoming his performers. And through their training, they're basically learning how to become that first god, who would be the first god they'll perform as Thayam dancers. When I do projects today, I don't really just ask for permission, I ask them to be a part of the project. If a picture is truly 1,000 words, I try to share those words with them, give them at least 500 of them, and see how we can do it together. And I said, if I want to show this culture, what should I show? And they told me that they have this something called a demigod. A kid who is learning how to become Thayam would wear a costume of half a god and walk around and tell people that the season is about to start. And we started photographing it. We went out and we did this little makeup thingy, and then I said, all right, that's great, let's do it. But then they said, yeah, we can't go out. It's only in September. You came way too late. And I felt so bad. I said, so what are we going to do? And they felt so bad for me for not having this image, and they actually wanted it to be shared. And we went out on a secret mission. We got into a car, we put a towel on the kid's head, and we just drove for hours until we reached another village who they don't know, or nobody knows them around there. And we were able to make those visuals, those things of showing how those kids turn to be when they do this demigod form. Another thing about photography, especially today, is that magazines and viewers demand more than just documentation. Don't just show us what's there, give us an interpretation of yourself. Use your photographic language to show us more. And this is the way we made these images. This is why in photography, many times, the work you'll see is not necessarily a person running by and taking an image. Photographers take a lot of time and effort into getting to know the people they're photographing, into creating those relationships and creating those understandings and learning about the culture so they can get more from it and making a better image. But when you talk to people and you work with people, many times you'll face cultural differences. Things that we take for granted and aren't taken in the same place, or things that we think are easy to do and it's not in where we're going. When I went to South China, I went to Xingping village. I was trying to photograph a group of fishermen who called Yin Bao. They used trained cormorant birds in order to fish in the Great Li River. They used those beautiful lamps in order to guide the birds in the water. The problem with this place is that it's very famous. It's so famous that it actually made its way into the 21 bill in China, and you can see it everywhere. And a lot of people who come to China, either on their first visit or the second one, they go to see it. And the dream is to copy the image on the back of the yuan bill. And of course, when I got there, I said, yes, I got it. And then I said, okay, now let's do something else. I have an idea. How about we do this? How about we go over there? How about we do something different? And all the fishermen went like, no. It's something very cultural in that area to put beautiful things in boxes. If it's good, if it works, don't change it. Keep it this way. And me trying to ask them to do it differently was me trying to basically embarrass them or harmful to what they think is good. And for a couple of days at the beginning, it was a problem for me. I didn't know what to do. How can I get this project to go? And at the time there was this thing called the Ice Bucket Challenge. And a friend of mine found it very smart to nominate me on an assignment, and I decided to use that bucket challenge as a way to break the ice with the fishermen I was working with. And I told them, look, there's this thing. I showed them on my phone what we were trying to do. Would you like to help me? And you should have seen how they reacted. People were standing in line to come to the boat with us to make this ice bucket challenge. People were fighting who will pour the water on my head, who will do what. And then we actually did it. You guys have 24 hours to complete this challenge. This is the wrong bucket.
Take off.
This is just one of those examples of how this line should be broken with photographers. And especially when I did this thing, I became the weird guy. I became the person who does the wrong things. He wants to photograph in the wrong places and he pours buckets of water on his head. Let him be. And that allowed me to do a lot of different images. Images where I could actually ask them to do certain things or go to different places. Photograph things they wouldn't understand why I want to photograph. Why do you care how we activate the lamp? Why are you photographing that kid who's coming along with us? When we build this little understanding and we start breaking cultural walls. Who here in the audience speaks more than one language? Who speaks 2 languages? Raise your hand. Who speaks 3 languages? 4? 5? Okay. I bet all those who speak more than one language that you sound completely different in every language you speak. You have a different speaking style. You're a different person even when you speak it. Same in photography. Even though photography, I claim it to be an international language, it's not enough for you to talk. It's enough for you to communicate. It's enough for you to build a personality that will be suitable for that situation. This is why I think photography should be used to have people meet and have people talk to each other, because we force ourselves in the chase of finding an image to connect, to get to know, to learn something. And after I did those kind of images, I started to talk to them and they started to open up to me. And I started hearing stories. My favorite stories was that at the old time,